Any who are of course familiar with our Prestige collection will never be surprised to see a great spec of Range Rover therein, and this is exactly such a vehicle. A 2015 Range Rover Sport HSE Dynamic, and of course these when new were well over £50,000-60,000 cars, certainly once you start looking down the spec sheet and ticking everything off, and we'll talk about that spec in a second because being a Range Rover, it's of course very well equipped. On the point of price though, that is of course where you're seeing that immediate massive saving today, because this is under £20,000. And you would probably think to be under £20,000 for a facelift Range Rover Sport with the 3-litre SD V6 engine, so the most efficient, most economical engine you can get in one of these, well surely it must have 120, 150 something thousand miles, no history maybe. Well in actual fact, no, it's fantastic in terms of mileage and history. In fact, it's covered 23,000 less miles than the average one of these on the market at under 60,000, barely 59 in fact. And speaking to that history, it has a full service history behind it with its 2 keys. Of course, it's already had its cam belt changed barely 1,000 miles ago, in fact, in October of last year. And to go back to that engine, the reason why it's so popular is on the one hand, you have 300 brake horsepower, 440 foot-pounds of torque, so surprisingly good acceleration, the definition of effortless performance, in fact, which is exactly what you'd want from a luxury 4x4. At the same time, great holiday vehicles, great towing vehicles. On the other hand, though, the efficiency is such a huge step forward over what you would traditionally think a Range Rover could do. Up to 40 to the gallon of average economy is not bad at all for a Range Rover Sport or otherwise, and on the motorway it's even better, as high as 44. Even its yearly road tax, despite being a big spacious vehicle with a hefty engine, it's still £335 a year to tax, which again is a lot more affordable than you would probably assume. In terms of its visual spec, of course you can see it's finished in ammonite grey with perforated pimento Oxford leather, and of course that ebony detailed interior as well. It's a fantastic looking car, as frankly all of these Range Rovers from this generation are. They still look every bit as stunning today as when they first rolled off the forecourt, except you have a huge advantage on price now, and of course in terms of that spec, well that's what we need to return to now. Because in addition to that optional panoramic roof, which this one is fitted with, it also of course has that touchscreen display, multiple 12-volt power outlets, auxiliary, Bluetooth and USB connectivity with an 8-speaker sound system, cruise control, again perfect for long distance driving or a holiday vehicle, front and rear parking sensors with reverse camera, voice activated navigation, dual zone climate control, power opening and closing tail, naturally ISOFIX ready seats for the kids. The list goes on and on and on in the case of a Range Rover. So again, if you're looking for one of these already on the market, certainly in this kind of visual color combination with a superb history, excellent mileage, and again for under £20,000, it is a whole lot of car to love for the money. If then you would like to reach out regarding this particular Range Rover Sport HSE Dynamic, you could send us an email to the address shown here on screen, or of course give us a call on 01749 871155 or on our mobile number of 07482 267 439.